covering Northern California. You're watching Action News Now, coverage you can count on.
New tonight, plans to light up streets in Chico amid safety concerns. What options are on the table? Plus, an expanded helicopter facility could be in the works at one airport in our area. A look at the plans. But first, staying fire safe is a top priority for local leaders with peak fire season approaching. Butte County received congressional directed spending on behalf of Senators Padilla, Feinstein, and Representative LaMalfa for fire safety measures. And that includes vegetation management, brush removal, and a fire break project. Supervisors today approved an agreement with the Butte County Fire Safe Council to implement those projects on up to 215 acres. Action News Now reporter Margot Rowe joins us live. Margot, what does the agreement entail?
Linda, the Butte County Fire Safe Council will basically undertake these roadside vegetation reduction projects throughout the county, and the county will pay for the work. Now, I spoke with Public Works Director Josh Pack, and he says the county received $3 million from the federal government for roadside vegetation management. The county will oversee the projects but reimburse the Fire Safe Council. And the Yankee Hill Fire Safe Council is also included in this MOU, and once the MOU is finalized, they can start planning the projects.
Some planning meetings together to make sure we're coordinating well the intentions of the grant funds. And we already have areas identified and residents that are eager to see us come back in as we've continued to do work along key evacuation routes.
Our work on hazard fuels reductions along many miles of road to provide that protection, especially in light of the concerns we've seen in recent years between Camp and North Complex and Dixie, and most recently Park and Thompson Apache fires. So this should provide some welcome protection, and the hope is, if this is successful, that we can continue to apply for those grants, receive those grants, and help support this much needed work.
Now, the projects will focus on rural areas like Concow, Yankee Hill, Magalia, Forbestown, Berry Creek, Robinson Mill, and Clipper Mill. And the Fire Safe Councils should finish about reducing vegetation around on 120 miles worth of road. Reporting live in Orville, I'm Margot Rowe for Action News Now.
All right, thank you, Margot. The agreement will run through September 30th of 2027. New developments: the Shasta County mother accused of abusing her 11-month-old child pleaded guilty as charged today to felony child abuse. Police say Alicia Allen was arrested at her home in the city of Shasta Lake after deputies found the baby with facial injuries that appeared to be deliberately inflicted. She will return to court for sentencing May 21st and faces up to 1 year in jail. A live look now from the Alerts California McCabe Ridge camera overlooking Shasta County. Not seeing any snow on the mountaintops here, but mostly blue skies. For the very latest on conditions, we check in with Chief Meteorologist Howie Gordon.
Yeah, Linda, lots of sunshine today, less cloud cover compared to yesterday. Winds going down and temperatures slowly coming up. So remember a year ago, April, we hit April and we just hit the dry spell right into almost November. We're hoping that's not the case yet, but we'll break that down over the course of the next few hours. But a little gusty in a few spots yesterday, especially Redding and Red Bluff, where we're seeing winds gusting up to 35 miles per hour. Rest of the valley between 20 and 25 miles per hour. But our atmospheric pressure is kind of balanced out, and now winds on that lighter side. Temperature-wise today, remember, we should be about 73 degrees. We should probably get there in a few spots in the valley. I got to correct that, Chico, and that's not accurate. Weaverville right now at 66, and up there in Alturas at 59 degrees. Now, really, wind's going to stay on the lighter side until maybe over the weekend they'll pick up, and then we have slight rain chances, but more than likely we stay on the dry side and the warmer side. We'll talk all about that and more coming up soon, Linda.
All right, thank you, Howie. New tonight, Chico is working on a plan to boost lighting on city streets with a new report showing a need for improvements. We'll take a look at this map. You see all of the blue on this map? There's quite a bit. That represents areas where streetlights are considered sparse. Action News Now reporter Nathan Espandula has details on plans for more lighting moving forward.
night, it's just pitch black out here. Great for star viewing, but terrible for, people walking by or for keeping an eye on the neighborhood.
The idea to better light Chico City streets was initially requested by council member Katie Hawley in January, and yesterday was the topic of discussion at the Chico City Council's Internal Affairs Committee. Hawley explained to me that she thinks well-lit streets are very important.
We, of course, know there's a little bit of party culture. We are a college town. That is just in the nature of where we live. So making sure that students are able to get to and from their nightlife safely is another priority.
I'm currently here on Pomona Avenue, which at night becomes one of the poorliest lit places in Chico, and I spoke to some people who live here, and they told me just what it's like to live in such a dark place.
I went on a run at night like a month or two ago, and I no longer go on runs at night, just because nothing happened really, but obviously I was just like, this is really dark.
I had a friend here the other night who lives just 2 blocks down, and she wasn't comfortable walking home at night because it's completely unlit over here.
Chico City Council member Addison Winslow told me that the city wants to fill in the gaps in places with poor lighting, specifically where young women often walk alone or places with a lot of foot traffic in general.
Even in a well-lit street, walking alone as a woman is pretty scary. So I think especially in a not lit street at all, it can be pretty creepy.
Now, Winslow says he believes street lighting is a safety issue and that better lit streets will reduce crime. And he says one street light costs about $15,000 to $20,000. You can report areas you think are poorly lit so the city can know what to focus on first. We have a link on our website where you can do that under the News tab, then News Links. The CHP out of Quincy says it will charge a driver involved in a head-on collision with reckless driving. Officers were responding to a call just before 7 this morning about a reckless driver all over the road driving in the wrong lane on Highway 70 in the Feather River Canyon. While en route, they learned of a head-on crash near Rush Creek. Investigators say Jeremy Jen of Oakdale was driving the wrong way in a blind curve when he hit an oncoming Chevy pickup. Jen, a passenger, and the driver of the truck went to the hospital with major injuries. The crash shut down Highway 70 for 3 hours. Butte County Sheriff's officials say they arrested a man after a stabbing in Palermo. The suspect, Timothy Banadar of Oroville, is accused of the stabbing. It happened last night around 5 o'clock on Occidental Avenue, south of South Villa Avenue. The victim is being treated at a local hospital. Tonight, Shasta County supervisors will discuss approving a letter of support for an assembly bill that would require an ID with proof of citizenship before voting. The letter acknowledges implementing the provisions would increase the workload for county elections officials, but says, quote, "We believe the benefits of a more secure and accurate election system far outweigh the additional administrative responsibilities." And a reminder, tonight's meeting starts at 5:30 in a different location than normal because of renovations in the board chambers in Reading. For the next 2 months, meetings will be held in the City of Shasta Lake City Council chambers on Red Bluff Street. The meeting starts at 5:30. Tehama County will soon be getting its own tiny home village to provide more shelter for homeless people in Red Bluff. Action News Now reporter Blake Mayfield explores where they will be built and how much it will cost.
The Poor and Homeless County Coalition, or PATH, is building 5 new tiny homes on Sail Lane in Red Bluff next to one of its existing services buildings. The homes will be built for an amount not to exceed $457,000, presumably before July of next year.
And I believe they're also trying to get a modular home as well for more of a communal type of living arrangement to get more people housed temporarily while they get them into permanent housing.
And some of these orchards you see out here behind me on Sail Lane may soon be turned to dirt. That way PATH can build their 5 tiny homes.
And while Hansen says it's still very early in the process, he's hoping the tiny homes are not the only long-term answer to homelessness in the county.
Trying to eat an elephant one bite at a time is a good start. And providing options with our community to get people at least in a safe place.
Reporting in Red Bluff, I'm Blake Mayfield, Action News Now.
District 3 Supervisor Patty Nolan was absent from today's meeting. New tonight, why the feds are making a new task force investigating homeless funding in California. Plus, keeping skills sharp, we bring you a look at Chico Fire's live training today. But first, the deadline for tariffs to take effect, now just hours away, the latest on negotiations.